Atletico and Antoine Griezmann. It's the same attacking duo from their Champions League group stage finale at the Allianz Arena. It did not go well then, although their ticket to the knockout stage was already secured. Looking for better success today against Luis Enrique's men.
Smiles on the face of the two bosses. There might not be many directed towards these men. The men in black, talking about Ricardo de Burgos, only his second season as a top-flight ref. The Basque talking to the two captains. Gavi back from suspension, and Messi still on another planet. The 29-year-old about to turn 30. And he's not the only one on a suddenly aging squad for Barcelona. That could be a concern for Josep Bartomeu in the offseason. They do bring in the Dutch keeper Jasper Cillessen on the bench, but a few new faces in the back and midfield.
And 6 changes in total, including Jasper Cillessen, who replaces Marc-Andre ter Stegen. 3 of the back 4 and 2 of the midfield trio are changed out. Piqué, the only repeat in defense. Umtiti replaces Jeremy Mathieu. Sergio Roberto takes over from Aleix Vidal, while Jordi Alba returns in place of Ding, and there is no rotation up top, although Javier Mascherano, the pivot, flanked by Rakitic and Andre Gomes.
We are underway. Atletico Madrid in their familiar red and white stripes with the blue shorts, and it is the off kit for Barcelona. That one trickling across in an early corner kick. Jose Hernandez on our Spanish language side. Phil Shane alongside Andres Cordero, and early test here for the 6'1" Cillessen. Koke from the corner. Keep an eye on Godin. Ball sails. Piqué will clear. Gavi tries to strike, but slight deflection, and it's launched downfield. Messi the only one giving chase.
It is very much on Messi, Phil, to set the tempo and the intensity off the ball from Barcelona. When he works hard, the rest of the team has to work hard. We've seen plenty of matches this season where Messi has been more of the 4th, 5th midfielder than he has been the 3rd attacking player. When he works hard off of the ball, you see the same from the likes of Luis Suarez and Neymar. It does set the tempo for the midfield.
Dean with the step up. The pass just goes awry. Mascherano can't control it, though. Griezmann with a little bit of a touch, looking to pounce, and Cillessen very quick to react, and he needed to be.
One of the big questions coming in is, will Atletico Madrid press Barcelona, or will they sit back and wait for them? I think it'll be somewhere in between. They'll pick their spots, when to press, when not to. But teams have managed to cause turnovers close to Jasper Cillessen and Marc-Andre ter Stegen's goal against Barcelona this season.
A little bit of a hassle, but then Piqué makes it a moot point. Off to the near side, Jordi Alba. Injured a couple of games ago. Looked to be serious, but back out there today. Sergio Roberto on the other side as well. Injuries have been a concern, especially for Barcelona, but they seem to be getting healthy. For Atletico Madrid, pretty much just a bit of a sloppy defense at times, perhaps due to the injury to Oblak himself. Miguel Angel Moya doing well, but asking a lot to step in for the young Slovenian. There, the early chance that Cillessen pounced on. Questions about the Dutch keeper when he came in for Claudio Bravo in the offseason, Andres. And obviously, ter Stegen is the #1 goalkeeper for Barcelona. And some say they actually went out of their way to avoid bringing in a goalkeeper that would have caused a controversy. But after starting a bit rough the last few matches, Cillessen has looked to the manner born.
It's looking like a big bargain buy for Barcelona, because it wasn't a big name who was going to come in and test Marc-Andre ter Stegen, who they were fairly confident was ready to be the #1 full-time.
Players to watch today. No surprises here. The two guys that put the ball in the net. Suarez also pretty good at setting up. Doesn't hurt when you have a player like Messi. Ball forward. Down on the challenge goes Andre Gomes. Flying forward, something we're not quite used to seeing from the Portuguese midfielder.
And he has been very hesitant to go forward. Savic is the man who goes down and takes him down. But when he's in this position, there was always a tendency for him to try and drop back to level positioning with Sergi Busquets. I think with Mascherano there, who is very much a pure defensive midfielder when he is in the pivot spot today. You can see Andre Gomes and Ivan Rakitic both get more license to go forward. Question as to whether they actually will. There was an early indication from Andre Gomes. It'll be interesting to see the dynamic between those three in the midfield today for Barcelona. Phil, not a trio we've grown accustomed to seeing.
Messi launching it in, diving a header, clearing it away for Saul. Now it's Godin with the kung fu kick out towards midfield. The number 10 for Atletico, maybe not quite the name as the one for Barcelona, but word of an $80 or $90 million offer that could be on the table come the next transfer window to pry him to England. Yannick Ferreira Carrasco making a name for himself. Down on the ground, tackled away, but straight to Gomes, who again looks for that dagger pass. Messi drags Savic out, passes wide for Neymar, back to the middle, and Savic back to clear it away.
It was such a good feint on that downhill run there from Messi, who saw Savic. Savic had his eyes on him, knew that that pass was eventually going to come into Neymar. But take a look at this little feint just to get Savic to overcommit. That opens up the space on his near side for Neymar, who's been very selfless this season, always looking to square the ball back into either Messi or Suarez, as opposed to going for goal himself.
Simeone with a little coaching on the sideline. Proud of his team. Proud Papa as well. More on that in a moment. Ball in towards the 6. Still loose. Gomes trying to get to it, but Gabi comes away, and the 33-year-old veteran captain just puts it into touch. Throw in Barcelona, box high on this near side. Seemed to come off of the arm, but hard to say that would be intentional. Gabi to Griezmann. Felipe Luis. Okay, playing a little wider today, although here it's Saul on that far flank. Pulled into the path of Suarez, taking on the defense single-handedly. Suarez to the 18, tucks it home with a brilliant touch. An individual masterpiece from Luis Suarez.
So that is absolutely brilliant from Suarez, but credit to Mascherano, who steps up to win this ball back for Barcelona. When Mascherano is in his natural position, that of defensive midfield, he does so well to disrupt the attack of Atletico Madrid right into stride for Suarez, who still had so much to do. Look at this, no hesitation from Mascherano to poke that ball forward, and then Suarez sees all of the space he has in front of him. That's a brilliant cut the inside. It's Suarez against the world, and Suarez wins it.
Took on 4 defenders and the goalkeeper. There's that tackle slash pass by Mascherano. And then in Brazil, they call it do vaca, around the cow. Savic wearing the horns.
That's twice now that Savic has been victimized. The first time it was Messi who did create that space to send the ball into Neymar. Second chance for Barcelona. The second time they come close to Atleti's goal, and he found a way to break the scoreboard open.
In the battle for the Pichichi with his teammate Lionel Messi, Suarez with 16 goals in league, Messi with 15, 2 better than Cristiano Ronaldo in 3rd place. Trying to touch that one in play for Salco, but maybe just wide for another corner.
When we talk about the work that the 3 up top have to do for Barcelona, Messi, Suarez, Neymar. We saw Messi pressing earlier. We see Neymar dropping back now to help in defense. This is a very positive start for Luis Enrique's men beside the goal.
Ball curls away. Silas plays his line, headed wide by Godin. He didn't get all of it.
Well, it's rare to see Godin get an open header like that and not be able to put it on target. Atletico Madrid have lost a little bit of luster when it comes to their set-piece ability. They used to be such a dangerous team on free kicks, on corner kicks, and even defending them. They've lost that a bit under Diego Simeone this season. It's something they're trying to get back because it's a key component to their identity.
If you missed the goal, watch it again. Facebook.com/BeInSportsUSA. Talked about the 16 goals in league. Suarez could have twice that or more if he took advantage of all of the opportunities, but I guess maybe just being a bit unrealistic. After all, 21 of the 22 are human. Ball pushed away to this near side under pressure. Cillessen surrenders the throw in. That break, by the way, even after making the move around Savic to get the clear shot, is one where, shall we say, Suarez has made it interesting this year. Does have 6 assists, but finishing has not always been clinical. So the fact that he was razor sharp in the early going could be more than concerning to Atletico.
He's an elite goal scorer, Phil. He's one of the best, if not the best, at his position on the planet. But you're right to the extent that if you lined up his top 10 goals and his top 10 misses, I don't know which would be more spectacular.
And they could come seconds away from each other. Little flick by Neymar, upended. Risalco or Gabi, pick your poison. Near side Gomes. And I think just the way that Gomes playing in these opening 10 minutes or so gives you an idea what Luis Enrique's game plan is. Risalco out wide. Here's to Juan Fran, the reconverted right wing. Off to the far side, carries for Saul. Felipe Luis switches to no one. And Jordi Alba puts it out for the throw.
Good to see Neymar back on his feet as well. He was down for a moment, slow to get up. Saw that cross in from Juan Fran. It's one of the things that he does really, really well for Atletico Madrid, usually as a right back, is anytime he's in that final third, whether there's a man in front of him or not, he'll create the space to send the ball, and that one was sent a little heavy.
Inside, flicked on, but over. Cillessen had it all the way.
Header from a throw-in. Not often that you see that in the Copa del Rey or elsewhere. Take a look here as he sends his ball toward the near post. Godin is surrounded by 4 Barcelona players and still somehow manages to make contact.
Here, saw Koke being harassed. Temperature around 50 degrees. Cloudy skies. Some Barcelona faithful in the upper reaches of the Vicente Calderón, making the 300-mile trek. And, well, there are a few culés in the capital that are probably enjoying a night out.
Good ball.
Side to Sergio Roberto. Back into the middle. Messi. Last year saw him dropping back into that Xavi role. Now, I guess you could even say a little Pirlo in his bag of tricks as he comes back closer to his own goal. A lot of that is to get a touch, but it's also to open avenues for the other players on the park. Again, Messi settles, surrounded, gets rid of it quickly.
Incredible control. Not the easiest pass to deal with from Lionel Messi. It's a bad giveaway.
Just dribbling through and taken away by Saul. Gabi almost disdainfully spanks it out towards that left flank, and Kazmierski, Felipe Luis lays it off. Carrasco dropping back. Did not find Risalco on that run. Atletico not panicking after giving up that early goal. Looking for Juan Fran, but just eludes his left foot.
Well, you touched on his position earlier, Phil. It's not the first time this season we've seen Juan Fran play as a right midfielder, but you didn't have to wait until this season to see that role. It's a role he came up playing when he was at Real Madrid Castilla as a youth product, one that he played at Osasuna and at Espanyol, and early days at Atletico Madrid. He was more comfortable there before turning into a right back. Look at that finish from Luis Suarez. He did so well to beat 4 defenders of Atletico Madrid. Savic left rooted. Usually it's the way that he uses his body in tight spaces, Luis Suarez. Rarely do we see him make that good of a use of the space in front of him.
And then stay calm enough to tuck it home. You could say, and perhaps be a stickler, that he could do better, but it does seem to be a magical pairing, or trio, if you include Neymar in the mix. Carrasco swings it across, and there's Mascherano to parry it out. Mache with the tackle.
Work in tight spaces. Carrasco looks almost like a futsal player sometimes. The things that he can do when under pressure, did so well to shake Jordi Alba there before delivering that dangerous cross.
Again swinging away. Carries long, headed back into the middle. Saul, second effort, but through the back he goes, and a foul against Atleti. They're not liking, actually, Versalto swinging over to that far side. The fans not liking the call.
4-4-2 for Simeone's men, as we have seen in the past. The four along the back in front of Moya, Savic and Godin in the middle. Versalico on the right, Felipe and Luis on the left. The double pivot, which is something that we've seen the return of more consistently now, is when Koke plays inside, he does tend to drift forward more, but the double pivot today, Gabi and Saul. Koke on the left, Juanfran on the right, and Griezmann and Carrasco, the two attacking players.
This could be a chance. Three charging in the box, but the cross could not get around Piqué, and it's touched through and out for the goal kick by Saul Niguez. Tried to get a little too tricky. Suarez was able to. That's one of the goals of the season. And he might not be done. Touched away, Savic out for the Barcelona corner.
The early goal changes everything for Atletico Madrid. We talked about whether you want to press Barcelona or sit back and defend. That's a moot point once it's 1-0 in Barcelona's way. They start to dictate the tempo. They start to dictate the play. An away goal inside of a quarter of an hour. It was 7 minutes in that Suarez found the back of the net.
Okay, trying to get away from Savic. Moya drops back. Piqué sends it back across. Down goes Versalco, and they're going to say it was Neymar with a little push.
Might have been more of a pull. There was very little contact in it, but Versalico felt it, sold it, and referee bought it. It's a young referee today, the Burgos Bengoechea, just 30 years old. Was there a lot in this? Can't see much from that angle.
Barcelona, the all-time leader when it comes to Copa del Rey championships, 28. I've been a bit neck and neck with Athletic Bilbao, who are second, but the Basque side has not won practically a couple decades. And close a few years back, only to be stymied. Meanwhile, Atletico, with their recent turn of form, now up to 10, with 9 second-place finishes. Barca with 10 of them. 57 appearances in the finals combined between these two sides, yet they've only met in a final twice. Once in 1926, Barca won 3-2, and then a little more recently in 96, where Atletico won the double with an extra time victory over the Catalans. They won't meet again this year. Instead, there will be a Cinderella invited to the ball. You'd have to guess whoever comes out of this half of the bracket will be a heavy favorite against Alaves or Celta, but in a crazy year in Spain, anything can happen.
Really poor touch from Andre Gomes. That's a bad spot to give the ball away with all of the Barcelona players for the most part in attack.
Gabi to Koke. Felipe Luis keeps it in play. No, he doesn't. That was right along the chalk, but the assistant on that far side, Iker Di Francisco, had a good eye.
But one of the things that we've come to see as an identity of Barcelona is how they play the ball out of the back. They're in trouble here again.
Are they?
It's been an adventure this season every time they do play the ball out from the goalkeeper's feet. Samuel Umtiti has started to get more comfortable in that role, but we've seen plenty of games where Piqué is the only one really truly comfortable with that, and teams are happy to press all three of the other members, save for Piqué, if he gets it.
Marc-Andre ter Stegen sometimes perhaps a little too comfortable. Through ball for Griezmann. Umtiti cuts it out. But again, in recent weeks, maybe pressured by the resurgent Silesen.
That's the in.
That was a little hard, but now ter Stegen. In fact, it's not the rarity, but more the norm that the Barcelona goalkeeper is going to be one of the top 2 or 3 players when it comes to touches and passes. Down into the corner, played square, and a tackle from Piqué prevents the chance.
Smart early ball from Koke, squaring that in toward the 6-yard box, and Piqué has been massive at the near post, not allowing that ball in. He had a step on the defender that was marking him. Piqué sliding across, not taking any chances.
Back for Carrasco. Tackled away. Falls to Messi. Leaves for Neymar. Burst of speed. Trying to slow him down with a foul. Koke, but no. Pass does go wide, though. Alba all the way out on that right wing. Now it's Messi. But enough of a touch from Koke.
Good recovery as well by Felipe Luis. That's his zone. He drops back to try and trouble Messi. He's won the ball back for Atleti. Maybe a little tryout for that right back position from Jordi Alba a moment ago.
Chance here from long range, but Zell didn't hear the footsteps. Rakitic starting to play in recent weeks that defensive midfield spot in the absence of Busquets. Last game started, in fact, at that position and did quite well. And I have a feeling, even though he's admitted that's not really where he feels comfortable, it's a lot nicer than on the bench where he had been for the past few games.
One of the interesting things about Rakitic's position today, playing on the right-hand side, is this is where he earned the place for himself at Barcelona, but there hasn't been enough on the attacking end from the right wing spot, whether that's Messi staying more glued to his position on the right where he is now, or Rakitic stepping forward to fill that spot. It's been a sort of a void in attack for Barcelona this season, the right wing.
Poked free, but a foul in the process. Okay, getting a talking through from De Burgos.
It's 3 times already that Neymar has been fouled. He is among all of the wonderful talent in La Liga. No player gets fouled more often than Neymar, and he gets a reputation for a bit of the theatrics. I think that's long gone from Neymar.
But the boy who cried wolf. In fact, in the last game, there was a lot of controversy over a ball that went into the net. In fact, to the point where right now La Liga is saying they are going to bring in video technology of some sort for goal chances. Versalco runs it across. However, seconds before, not even split seconds before, Neymar was screwed into the ground on what could have been a penalty that wasn't called. Have a feeling if that was Suarez or Messi, the whistle would have blown, but Neymar does have the reputation. Deserve it or otherwise. Messi, Neymar, off to Alba. Almost like an isolation game in basketball, where they try and get numbers in their favor. But on by Roberto. Rubber band man of Luis Suarez contorts his body, gets the touch, and it's knocked aside for a corner kick from the other side. Good look at Moya, 32-year-old. Hard to blame him for the recent run of defensive woes. Cleared away. Versalco. Actually, Carrasco dropping back. Out on the far side, it'll be an Atletico throw. But it has to be a difference when Oblak is out. Last year, statistically the best keeper in La Liga.
Made the comparison to basketball a moment ago, Phil, and I know that American soccer fans cringe whenever we compare our game to other sports played in the United States, but it was Pep Guardiola himself when he was managing Barcelona who went on a bit of a tour, a listening tour with basketball coaches to learn how to create space when there is very minimal space in the area closest to the opposition's goal. There are some similarities that carry over.
To the near side. Too far for Versalco and out, and it will be a throw-in for Barcelona. Simeone gesturing wildly on the near sideline to try and make sure his midfield does not surrender a second. The road goal is crucial for these two teams. In fact, it might be the only goal of the 180 minutes when all is said and done. Two of the best defensive teams in Spain. But what it does mean, especially if Barcelona can find another, Atletico has their work cut out for them.
And Barcelona having difficulty playing the ball out from the goalkeeper. It's been a staple of Barcelona's system for a better part of a decade.
Nice. Messi dragging it to the near side. Gomes in stride. Neymar thought about the first touch. Suarez wanted it. Neymar to the middle. Rifles the shot in. Down goes Moya to make the save.
You want to see Neymar be a little more selfish in situations like this. It's precisely what Luis Enrique would have wanted. The early ball to Luis Suarez. Savic comes over to close down that space. The cross wasn't necessarily the best option. And he can create just that sliver of an opening between the two defenders to fire. A bit central this shot, but the intention is there from Neymar. Player who can create for himself.
Gomes, the feet out, maybe unintentionally. Luis Suarez just says, get away. Gabi, normally on the giving end, this time on the receiving end. Minutes left to go in the opening half. I was going to say busy, but that would be an exaggeration. Barcelona active a bit in the recent transfer window, bringing in a young Uruguayan, Santi Bueno, out of Peñarol. Promising center back for the future, but it's going to be a while, I think, before Gerard Piqué is ready to leave. And Umtiti's starting to get more and more comfortable on that back line. Is there a weakness for this Barcelona? And if so, other than perhaps experience or players living up to potential, what would it be?
I think we touched on some of the weaknesses. Playing the ball out of the back, which is normally a strength, has been a bit of an adventure this season. We saw even teams like Betis at the Benito Villamarin be much more willing to press Barcelona and press that ball out from the goalkeeper than they would have been in years past, where teams tended to sit deeper in their own area, park the bus if they would. And the attack on the right wing when Messi is not there. Messi, who is now much more of a member of the midfield than he is the two other forwards. We talk a lot about MSN, but Messi has been filling in for that Xavi role quite often. That does leave a bit of a gap in attack on the right-hand side and makes Barcelona a bit more predictable. I don't know if there's any real glaring weaknesses. It's still one of the best, if not the best team on the planet, and they will be a contender in the Champions League. They're up against another very good Champions League contender here today.
This work for Salco. Help on the overlap. Cleared back to midfield. Settled by Gabi. Saul sensed the footsteps of Rakitic, but the touch went too far. Felipe Luis. His touch going too short. Gabi brings out Messi, and Messi asking for a little protection. The referee says that's my job.
The reputation of Atletico Madrid over these last couple of seasons has been to play to the legal limit of the rules of the game. They do flirt with it quite often. This is very high up toward the knee area of Messi if he doesn't try to leapfrog it, and it could have very easily merited a yellow card.
Finishing your thoughts in regards to that right wing position as Neymar flies up the left. A poor tackle, though. Door open. Suarez to the middle. Neymar with the touch, but it trickles wide. And Atletico living a charmed life on this chance.
Neymar makes the right decision again. He sees Suarez here. This time he does have that opening. Suarez being a bit too selfless, maybe himself. Take a look at how this develops. And Suarez has run toward the near side. Neymar does this smart thing. Maybe needed to finish that with his right foot. Suarez tries to get it back in. No one really closes him down quickly enough. If you see, actually, Godin turns his back to Suarez as the pass is made.
Maybe a little step over and Suarez nets the second, but will that come back to haunt Barcelona? He's finishing the thought. As good as Sergio Roberto has played, as solid a right back as he is, he's more Martin Montoya than he is Dani Alves.
In reality, he's neither, because he's not a right back. He just took the opportunity that presented itself when there was a chance to get into the rotation. And it was as a steady right back in the absence of Dani Alves. Alice Vidal wasn't working out early on.
Okay, wins it back. Carrasco battling for it. A horde of players on that far side. Piqué comes away, tries to walk the tightrope, and does. It apparently does not cross the goal line. It's out for a throw. Quickly taken. Felipe Luis. Atletico, meanwhile, not active. either part of an agreement with the Court of Arbitration for Sport or voluntarily. Titi clears it away, facing a transfer ban, as was Real Madrid. But unlike Real, they did not ask for a quick decision. They basically are trying to get a deal or the punishment determined before the summer window, and obviously hoping they also only lose the winter window, as did Real. For Barcelona, losing 2 windows, they have to be wondering what they did wrong in the appeals process. Juanfran sweeps it across. Piqué there to clear.
Another good ball from Juanfran. It's almost, we talked about this prior to kickoff, a nervous twitch from Juanfran. When he gets into that final third and he's in possession of the ball, you can pretty much book it. It will be a cross from Juanfran, and it will be an accurate one as well. He's linking up well with Versalico on that near side.
Getting away with it, cleared into the middle. Messi controls. 3v the world. Near side Neymar. Suarez in that center channel. Drags Versalico out. I make that Savic out, who with a nice tackle puts it into touch.
Beautifully timed challenge from Savic, who's been punished early, both on the goal and on a Neymar chance before that. This time he finds his time. It's not the perfect moment to slide in and get that ball away. Atleti did have numbers back. It was a 3 against 5 for Atletico Madrid. It's good defending.
Goal coming in the 7th minute. The fact that they have not really seen too many more clear chances for Barcelona has to be comforting for Simeone, but it's more the fact that Barca playing with fire around their own net rather than Atletico actually doing anything offensively.
It's been an identity crisis of sorts for Atletico Madrid, who do have the horses to play a more attractive, more aesthetically pleasing brand of football. They've tried that. On further review, they've said, no thanks. We're going back to what we did well.
Strap the thoroughbreds to the plow. Hurdling. Scythe down. Saul helping Messi to his feet. And the yellow card does come out. Saul Niguez, the first in the book. The 22-year-old. Ex-Real Madrid youth.
Really broke out Saul during his days at Rayo Vallecano under Paco Gemes, where he played as a right back, as a full back, as a defensive midfielder, as an attacking midfielder, and if I recall correctly, as a second striker.
Blue ball, but not exactly on the same wavelength as Griezmann. Falling asleep at the switch. Gomes and near side Saul making up for his foul. Looking for help though, surrounded, and then gift wraps it for Alba. Paco Gemes, by the way, just let loose again in Mexico, having a hard time catching up with those glory days. Foul goes the other way. Juarez looking on in disbelief.
Suarez felt he might have been fouled before that. Maybe has a case. Does bring that arm up to impede the player's progress. His stripe was at the foul that should have been whistled. He thinks is one on him prior to that. One wasn't spotted by the Burgos Bengochea, but Suarez's was.
Well, sails over everyone. Plenty other action going on. beInSports.com for the latest, and don't forget to check out beInSportsConnect.tv. There you go. Actually, the French side's in the Coupe de France with Stade Rennais against PSG. The championship seeing Newcastle take on QPR. Messi in the center of the park, sending it wide. Rakitic back for Messi. Oh! Pings it off the post. And Barcelona doubles its lead.
Well, who says there's no threat from the right wing? This time Messi receives it in the middle. He gets it wide to Rakitic, who was filling that space further forward as he should be. And rather than doing what maybe some of the other options at that right wing would do, trying to take their man on, Rakitic does the smart thing, which is give the ball right back to Messi. He had that pocket of space, Messi. The defense thinks that he's maybe going to take a couple of touches into the 18. Messi wastes no time depositing this toward the post.
You saw Jose Ramon de la Fuente, the goalkeeping coach. You saw Luis Enrique That looks like by design. Rakitic holds the ball, draws Godin out. Sergio Roberto makes the run inside, which freezes the rest of the defense. And for Lionel Messi, that's about as open a shot as he is going to see. And you cannot give him that amount of space and time.
And credit to Rakitic as well for not crossing the ball into the back post, not sending in a hopeful ball of sorts. He sees that Messi doesn't have anyone around him, and the best thing to do is just the easy ball straight to Messi. I think that's what Dani Alves knew so well. And when we do talk about that right wing for Barcelona for the last couple of years, it was Dani Alves.
Griezmann. Gomes reaching in. Didn't look like much, but it was right when he was shooting. The Atleti fans want a card, but the Burgos saying no. It will be a free kick just outside the area, though.
It's the first time, really, that Antoine Griezmann has appeared in this match. As look at foul, Andre Gomes doesn't give him the space, closes him down and bumps him from behind. This is a really good spot for Atleti. Find themselves 2 goals down in just the first half of this two-legged tie. This could get out of hand.
A lot of talk he could be playing on the other side in a year's time. Real Madrid obviously interested, as are several teams in England. Manchester United more than any. And now that Diego Simeone had a year taken off of his deal at Atletico Madrid, you kind of wonder where these pieces of the puzzle will end up. Gabi. Bersalco. Carrasco denied.
It was Messi who scrambled back to deny him. I said right off the top of this broadcast that Messi off the ball sets the tempo for how Barcelona behaves.
Gabi.
Seen him put in the defensive shift as well.
Gomes pings it forward. Neymar settles. Flies around Juanfran down the line, and if he can keep it in. Carrasco, the only one with speed that can catch up, and there goes Koke. Was there enough contact for a yellow? Or was there a foul at all? The ref says yes. Yes.
Okay, flashing the studs as well. Here's another look at that magnificent strike from Messi. He's able to close him down in time. Yannick Ferreira Carrasco. It's one of the forwards who's marking Messi.
And it looked like it was Koke as well. That's an interesting point as we head to the 37th minute. Thiago Mendes had played that position next to Gabi for years. Always constantly, it seemed, on a one-year loan from Juventus. Then started to get injured, started to get old. They get Augusto Fernandez from Celta, fill that spot brilliantly. Both of those players unavailable. For all that Gabi is good at, he's not really known for his defense. Chipped by Alba. Headed to the 6, but straight to Moya. And you kind of wonder if that was Mendes, if that was Fernandez, they might have been on Messi, and it still might be a 1-goal game.
And Saul can fill a variety of positions, but he's not that sort of tough, physical, defensive destroyer that you would see. Koke also more playmaker than he is a destroyer. So they've moved away from that double pivot of Thiago and Gabi, of course. Oh, look at this for Andre Gomes.
Left it to the near side. Another corner kick surrendered.
Same as you mentioned correctly with Augusto Fernandez, who came over from Celta and was the ideal replacement. Their identity has changed because of their personnel. Players like Carrasco, like Koke, like Saul, who allowed them to play a more proactive, more possession type of football, but it hasn't given the same results. And so now trying to revert back to what they did well. 9
corners in the first half. Near post, flicked on. Rakitic couldn't guide it to the corner. By the way, AFCON action as well. Burkina Faso, Egypt, and then from Serie A, Pescara against Fiorentina. All on beIN Sports Connect. This match approaching the half, and Atletico Madrid in serious trouble. And again, even if they find 2 goals of their own, it would mean Barcelona with a 2-road goal edge. Up the middle, decked by Savic. Messi down again, and Savic in the book. Second yellow against Atleti.
Second yellow showed by de Burgos Bengochea. Saul picked up the first. There was an argument as to whether Koke should have had one as well. The referee in a forgiving mood then on that foul against Neymar. Savic was painted yellow, and this is a free kick in Lionel Messi territory.
Where isn't Lionel Messi territory?
Well, you mentioned that he's showing some shades of Pirlo. Well, I don't know so much about being the regista for Barcelona, but certainly from these close range free kicks just outside of the 18, he has looked as good as anyone, Pirlo and Pjanic included.
40th minute, 2-0 the score. About 26 yards out on an angle. Messi going for that near corner. It's got to be the socks.
One of the things he's done so well is keep goalkeepers guessing as to where he's going to deliver his free kicks. He could go near post, he could go down at the bottom corner, as we've seen him score. Go to the opposite post. He always keeps the goalkeeper guessing. He's trying to get this one to bend in toward that top 90 on the near side, but that's really difficult to execute. Ball doesn't dip nearly enough.
Both of these teams surprised on the weekend by Cinderella's Atletico at Alaves. A 0-0 match, and the upstarts could arguably have thought they were shortchanged. Same for Barcelona in that controversial 1-1 against Betis. Well, Barca should have won with goal line technology. Betis probably the team that deserved it more. So both teams something to prove today. Godin spins to the inside, surrenders it right back to Suarez at the top of the box, and his blast deflected out for yet another corner.
He's an absolute killer, Suarez. He's not going to waste any time. Took that on the first time and kept it low as well. Gabi in the way. There would have been more danger for Atleti. Gabi turned his back to it.
Yeah, in the center of the six. He knows they cannot surrender another. Godin, Neymar in perfect position. Gabi harasses him back. Up next, Barcelona taking on Athletic in another difficult matchup. The Basque side just outside the European spots. Suarez challenging Savic. And after that, it will be the return leg at the Camp Nou. Atletico taking on Leganés in a mini Madrid derby on the weekend. The meat in that Barcelona sandwich. A little too tricky for his own good.
Atleti having real trouble getting both Griezmann and Carrasco involved. You see Carrasco have to pick that ball up in his own half. Look out.
Edge of the area, just over the bar, and Cillessen seemed to have it all the way. Koke just off.
Doesn't score a ton of goals, Koke, but he does have it in him. This was a ball that gets deflected into the path of Koke. You have to look up. Knows where the goal posts are. Just puts a little too much power behind it.
Well, take a look at the starting lineup here for Diego Simeone. Two decisions. Juan Fran being pushed up. Actually, three if you include Saul out there, with Carrasco, the compatriot for Griezmann. They have Gaetan and Gamero. And they also have Fernando Torres, who last year did quite well in the Copa del Rey.
Tends to do very well against Barcelona and Real Madrid, especially Fernando Torres. That was the question as to whether Torres or Carrasco would get this start today. I do expect we'll see Fernando Torres at some point. Maybe Yannick Carrasco run out to try and tire Barcelona down a bit, but he's seen very little of the ball.
Down, spin takes it to the goal line. Roberto, a good cross. Neymar stayed out, no problem for Versalco on the clearance.
As far as that Sergio Roberto point from earlier, Phil, I think what we saw in terms of how good he looked in a role that was so unfamiliar to him early on was, after working so hard to try and get himself a place on this team, finally the opportunity presented itself, even if it was not his natural position. He did seem a confident player, boosted by the confidence the manager was showing in him, boosted in a sense by the lack of competition at that spot. Now we're maybe seeing him revert to a player who's not a right back, who's a midfielder filling in.
Titi getting more comfortable. And you wonder again, Vidal seems to have, well, let's just say Luis Enrique returning his phone calls now. Ball across for Gomes, blasted away. Godin, another corner for Barca. That should be 7. So with Vidal resurgent and Roberto solid, does Barcelona look to a Bellerin or someone to shore up that position in the offseason? Final minute of the regulation, first half play. Neymar over everyone. Savic, okay, trying to keep it in. And does, but maybe to a fault. Rakitic holding off as he almost lost it. Good hustle, Saul.
Showed a lot of the ball to Saul there. Rakitic a little slow to make up his mind and position his body the way he wanted to, especially when there's not that much space back there and he's dispossessed, has to pull back Saul to try and stop the counterattack. With that came the foul.
2 amazing goals for Barcelona, Suarez and Messi, but I repeat myself, Suarez individually after being set up in the midfield, and then Messi with an individual finish to a team play, and Atletico has not had an answer.
2 goals and 7 corner kicks. It tells you that Barcelona are playing exactly where they want to, and that's close to Miguel Angel Moya's goal. Plenty of opportunities, and Suarez probably could have had another. Neymar may have had one of his own, and it has not been the kind of half that Simeone would have wanted.
Looked on Griezmann, but he missed the run, and that's going to do it in the opening half. First half of play, Barcelona comfortably in front, 2-0 against Atleti, and Diego Simeone with some work to do at the half.
Hard to imagine a better opening half to this two-legged affair than what we've seen from Barcelona. Away at a difficult Vicente Calderon, Messi and Suarez had the answers.
Once upon a time, a girl with golden locks broke into a house owned by 3 bears. She ate some porridge,